to what do we owe the honor of such gorgeous
I
locks?
was supposed to have jury duty, and on my way there, I found out I no longer have jury duty. So I'm nice and fresh just to be here.
Wow, I feel so lucky. Your hair looks incredible.
I started taking X Factor consistently, and it's literally grown like this much in 3 months. I texted my hair girl that I needed a trim. So
I always text my hair girl. Unfortunately, the way that you can tell that my hair grows fast is by my roots growing. Like
oh yeah, I do the
she's
same.
like, what do you take? I'm like, well, we have an amazing multivitamin.
Are you doing plus or original, Christy?
Plus I switched. I used to take original, and then I really found the benefits in perimenopause of taking the plus.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you take one or two?
Two with
Two
food.
with food?
I used to get super nauseous no matter what, so I took the original, and then I guess my body just adjusted. I take it with breakfast,
Okay.
with food, and I've been good. And I notice when I run out, I don't get hot flashes, but I get very hot all the time. And I'll sleep very hot, and that has helped with that. And other than even too, like my hair was falling out a lot, and it was thinning, my nails, all the skin stuff. Plus vitamins, I got deficient, and now I'm not anymore. So I just need to stay with it.
Okay, I'm going back to plus. There you go. That's all. Don't y'all feel like sometimes all you need is like a conversation with each other, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, that's it. That's how I'm taking it. That's the time of day I'm going to take it, or I'm going to start drinking it like you do. Like it's so funny. I think we almost sell it to each other just as well as we ever sell it to new customers, as we'll talk to each other and we're like, no, this is what I'm experiencing. And you're like, in that case, I'm going to do exactly like what you're doing. And like,
I will say too, like I do mine at bedtime for the nausea. Like I don't.
That's why I do it.
I do it at bedtime. I don't ever feel sick on it. I just take it with 𝗵𝗯𝗄 and BioCleanse, and I've never felt weird.
Hey, this is kind of a weird question, y'all, but since we're talking about what everybody else is taking, I just started the MetaBurn. Is that right?
Yeah.
MetaBurn. And I'm a coffee drinker, so I've only been doing one a day. Do you guys normally take your MetaBurn together, or do you take them separately? Because the bottle gives instructions to take 2 per day, and I didn't know if it was too much to take them together.
It's not too much, but I think, Jen, like it's one of those products, and I'll be curious what everyone else says. I always have people when they're starting it to just take one with food and see how their body does. I can take 2 with food or without food and I'm fine, but I feel like my body adjusted to it. So I just start people slow. And yes, you can take it together, but every once in a while you'll have someone who'll say, oh, it burns my esophagus. And that's because it's got that black pepper in it. So
Okay.
I just warn people, that's why they should take it like not on an empty stomach, because sometimes they'll get a little bit of that burn. Anybody else have feedback on Jennifer's question?
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. We're going to do Q&A after, because we only have Heather for 20 minutes.
You're right. You're right.
So I want to make sure that we don't miss out on this goodness. Okay, because we'll have, as soon as Heather's done and she has to jump off, then we can go straight into all the Q&As that we want to. In fact, everyone stay on. We'll make sure every single question you've ever had currently about Plexus or products that we all talk about it. But Heather, I am so excited. I almost messaged you and was like, okay, I'm gonna need you to tell me how to pronounce your last name. So I'm gonna let you pronounce it when you introduce yourself. But I think it's like, y'all hear us say this over and over, week after week. Like, I don't know that I've ever met Heather in person. Like, probably seen each other at something, but I can't, if you tell a story where I did, then I'll feel bad. But like, I just think it's so fun when we get to admire each other from a distance. And then we get to go like kind of fangirl a little bit, people just with their success, what they're doing something different, doing it with belief and enthusiasm. And I would say my love and adoration for Heather has grown so much in the last couple of months. I guess in September, about a week before Emerald Extravaganza was supposed to happen, she had a little baby who decided they wanted to hang out in the NICU for a little bit. And y'all know my heart for a NICU baby is just like bring it all in. I can do all the NICU stuff all day long. So I just think watching a mama go through that, but power through it, and like life is hard, but our businesses do something so incredible for our families that it's not either or, it's yes and. And I saw you yes and really well in that season. And because of that, there were some more like things that kind of came up, and I just watched you. Yes, God, and this too. Like, you're giving me this, but you've also gifted me this, and I want to steward both my family and my business really well. So I'm excited for y'all to hear Heather's story. I want to hear like all of the things, but also where she's developing goals right now in her business month after month. She is not slowing down just because life is hard. So Heather, take it away. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. Okay, my name, 𝗧𝗪𝗘𝗍𝗔. There's a G there, and it's nobody gets it right. My son, he is the only homeschool kid playing high school sports, and I'm pretty sure every coach calls him a different last name, but he just, it's how it is. So yeah, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I had our 10th baby, number 10, in September 5th. Yep, 1 week before Emerald Extravaganza, I was set to go on the trip, had it planned. I'm taking my tiny baby. The last time we went to Hawaii for the Emerald Extravaganza trip, I had the previous baby. She was 10 days old when we flew there. So I'm like, I got this, no big deal, we're going. It was gonna be my husband and I and the baby, like best way to recover ever, hands down. And he was doing great until like 30 hours in, and he decided he didn't want to breathe. So he spent 10 days in the NICU. And then another, like, came home for about 2 weeks and then went back to the hospital again for another, I don't know, 5 or 6 days. So he's on an apnea monitor, still struggling with breathing. It's a thing. But speaking of all this, so I kept pushing through, and I have very simple systems set up in place for myself and my team. And God was just so prevalent through all of it, and just it was so aware he's there and he's moving, and I love the yes, and it's huge. And I could have taken that and made a lot of excuses that were legit, and I did take time for myself and my family, but I was able, because of Plexus, because the gift given here with this business and my team and the community, I was able to be there fully present. I never once left the hospital. I was able to be with our baby in the room. I mean, other than to go out and eat the whole time. My husband, because of this business, because I'm making a 6-figure income, he didn't have to work. Like, he was able to either be in the hospital with me and the baby, or he could be home with the other 8 kids, because my oldest is out in California at college. So she's gone. My right-hand girl is gone. So it's been, I mean, it was definitely challenging, but one of the biggest stresses is finances, and praise God, because of this business, that wasn't a stress for us this time. Our 3rd baby was born at 33 weeks, and that was one of the hardest times we've walked through financially, and being in the NICU for a long time. This was a whole different story because of Plexus, because of my hormones were regulated, and even though I was going through postpartum, but like the community here and my team, and like, again, the finances, it was one huge burden that was lifted off of me. So I'll share a tiny bit about my story, and then I'll share the gold part, because I mean, it's gold. But I joined Plexus 5 years ago. My friend Wendy added me on Facebook probably 5 years prior to that, asked if I would do this with her. I'm like, you're funny. No, not interested. We did everything from like, right, we lived in the country, had an acreage, had animals. All of our food came from our farm. We raised cows and chickens and had a big garden. And I'm like, I don't need your stuff. She asked me for 4 years, and I kept saying no, didn't need any of that. And I never listened. I didn't care. That was not for me. And finally, we moved to South Dakota, left Minnesota, moved to South Dakota, and we were probably in, well, not probably, in like the worst spot of our life. And our marriage was falling apart. Our life, it was just horrible in every way. I'm homeschooling from the couch. Like, it was horrible. And I knew things needed to change. My husband and I went on a date after I'd been like saying no to dates for a long time. We couldn't afford it. Like, it just, nothing was working. We went on a date, and he's like, why don't you try the Plexus thing like for a month? And then I think it was right before that, I had heard there's a 60-day money back guarantee if you don't like it. And all the like, why didn't I know that before? And you don't have to order every month if you don't want to, which I've never missed a month, and I've had my subscription on always. But things I wish I would have known prior, maybe I would have tried it. So I tried this, but we couldn't afford to buy 1 month of Plexus. So I sold a couple of things on Facebook Marketplace because I was so desperate, bought this. And then Wendy had told me, if you have 3 friends try it with you, you're going to make I think it was like right around 300. You make more now than I did back then. So I'm like, yeah, well, I never listened to you. I don't know what you want me to do because I'm not about to go make a post that I don't believe in. I was so skeptical. And she's like, well, just be honest. So I went on Facebook. I hate the whole posting. I like it now. I hated it then. I went on Facebook. I made a post and I was like, ugh, I don't really know. My armpits were sweating. I'm pretty sure I had like a panic attack through it. But I just was super honest. I was like, okay, I just did this thing. I didn't have, it was the day I ordered. So I didn't have products. I like couldn't post a selfie, but I think I posted a picture of me and the kids. And I was like, I'm going to try this. Here's what I don't want anymore. And what I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if it's going to work. So we can all return it together. I wrote that in there. I was like, if it doesn't work, we'll return it. And I just really need some accountability, people. I know that if I have people doing it with me, I'm going to have results if it's going to work. So I did that post. I had, I don't know, 4 people right away decide to try it with me. I had like Wendy walked right alongside me, helped me. And that's the great thing about Plexus. Whoever's doing this with you, everybody helps everybody out. You're going to have people that'll help even if you don't know what you're doing. So do it scared. But Wendy helped me, help them order. And from that day on, I have never, ever paid for my products. So I made the money before my products came. And then I went gold 2 months later. And then I hung out at gold for almost a year because I didn't really, that was paying for my products. It was working. And then in June, I started in July. In June, I just felt like I was robbing people. I never told any of my level ones. I was really good at adding level ones and sharing with them, but I never told them like, hey, you could make money. Will you share? I always made up the mind for them that they wouldn't want to do that and had every red light story. And it was real clear in June, God made it like very evident. I was like totally robbing them of a blessing to help other people and they could get their products paid for. Or what if they could make an income too? So I messaged or called. I started with calling people and then I sent a voice message and then a text message every single downline in my back office, even if they returned. Didn't matter. They were the ones I did at the end because I was like, no, God, I'm not doing that. Not going to do that. I messaged all of them, ask if they would make a post on Facebook or be willing to share and use their referral link. And you guys, okay, so back up to May. In May, starting May, I had gold points. I had not ever even went senior gold. I started sharing with a couple people, just very scared. I ended up having a couple girls go gold that month. In May, I ranked to senior ruby. And then in June, no, May I went ruby. June, I ranked senior ruby. And then because of that, it was June 19th, the day before my son's birthday, is when I did this whole big, like, let's see if people will post. That was wild. I was in hundreds of 3-way messages. And then by July, I went emerald. So in 6 weeks of reaching out to every single level one, I went emerald. So like within 1 year, July to July, I hit emerald. It was the biggest, the biggest blessing, like undescribable for our family. And I had 6 level 1 golds that month. We had 33 silvers, levels 1 through 3. But I was doing tons and tons of 3-way messages. And I was doing info chat events way back then, but we didn't really do them as much on Messenger. We were doing them on like just a group page and kept filtering people through. But that was between that 3-way messages and these chat events, it was huge, huge, huge. So I have maintained emerald ever since then. Now it's been 4 years of maintaining it. And I'm hanging on emerald. I'm ready to go diamond. Like it's time to get to work. But I've made excuses and now I'm doing the big capital and God, yes, help me get there. So last month I had 2 level 1s go gold. They were both fast start gold. And I've had every single month, no matter what, it's been my goal to have at least 1 new level 1 go fast start silver. That's been my I can do this. I can make it happen. I'm not backing down on that. And once somebody goes silver, if you have that goal, you can pretty much get them to gold. Like if you're willing to do the work and be there for them. And the way that I have done that is number 1, rally chats are huge, huge, huge. Get in a rally chat, get your people in a rally chat. They need information and they need to be able, if they're like, okay, I'm ready to make a post or I'm ready to share my stories. A rally chat's a great place for them to grab the information without it just like, hey, did you see the chat today? I thought of you, and a great place for you to share the information with them. Like, this would be a great thing to post in your story. You should go, would you want to share that? Or how about this? Would you want to post on your wall? And in my rally chat, I often will share other people's posts in there. Like, this is super inspiring. Do this, like make it fit you. And I always encourage everyone to just be super real, and people are following you for you. Like, they're checking you out. Like, they don't copy and paste 100%. Like, make it you. They want to see you. They want to see your face with a drink. Like, are you actually doing this or what? So rally chats are huge. The other big thing, like, rally chat wasn't a thing when I went Emerald and had all those gold fun month. But what I did do was the info chats or the info events. I have now switched. I rarely do them on a group page. I do them all in Messenger. We host one for our team every single week. Weekly, everybody knows, same date, same time. And then anytime somebody at level 1 starts Plexus with me, they're getting in an info chat. Like, it's not even an option. Like, you need to know what all you, like, do you have any idea of what you get to experience here? Like, it's amazing. So I will host one just for them. This is what we get to do. I want you to have the best experience here. I'm really excited for you. And so I have one just for them. And then I'm like, by the way, like, would you just be willing to add a few people? Sometimes I'll offer like a $10 Amazon gift card if they add people. Sometimes I'm just like, depending on the person, get on the phone, feel them out. But it's kind of a non-negotiable. Who is doing it with you? Like, I don't ask for 3 people. I'll ask for 1. You need 1 person, like your mom, your aunt, your sister, your cousin, like your best friend. You can't do this alone. So who is going to do it with you? So it's not like a, do you want to? I don't talk about money at that point, because when they're starting Plexus, they're in it because they're in it for themselves, right? Like, you've talked to them, they want to lose weight. Well, who's doing it with you? So a lot of times when I'm signing people up, they're not here for a business. Like, my golds were not here for the business. They were here because they had a health goal that they wanted to meet. So if you want that, you can't do that without an accountability person. I'm like sold on that. So I just ask them who's doing it. And then I pause awkwardly, it's sometimes really awkward until they say something. And they'll tell me a couple people. I'm like, great, let's message them, call them. Do you want me to hop in a chat with you? Like, what can I do to help you? What's the best way for me to support you with that? And then, pretty quickly, if I'm on the phone with them doing this, they'll be be faster at silver in 24 hours, because I just walk through, like, let's connect, let's talk. What does your mom need? Like, and then walk through that and help them, and then either get in a message event, get on the phone with them, or they'll screenshot me the picture, the messages back and forth. And I help with, okay, here's what I'd recommend. Here's what I would say next, put it in your own words. So from that point, then they're immediately going into the info chat. I do them on Facebook Messenger and on Instagram Messenger. I have a lot of followers on Instagram, so I do a lot of them on there as well. 15 minutes, you guys, they're 15 minutes. Put every human that you have in a messenger event and then ask them to invite people to it, because your level 1s will have the best experience with Plexus if you get them in there and they get to hear testimonies and stories and see products, and it's huge. And if you haven't been doing it, not a big deal. Go look at all of your back office and say, hey, I'm doing this for my team. I'm super excited for November and all the free resets. I'm going to do this. I want you to hop in here. Can you come check it out with me? And if you can't at this time, come look at it when it works for you, because the info is still there. I always do a giveaway in the event, always. So maybe it's something really small, might be a $10 Amazon gift card with a poll. The polls are huge. So I also invite prospects to this, and I teach my team to do the same thing. So invite your prospects, and when you're inviting them and they're like, yep, I'll hop in, then your next message is, don't forget to go vote on the poll. You want to win, like, go vote. And then the importance of all of this, it's not about the info chat. Like, they're great. Yeah, you give them all the information, but they're not going to do you any good or serve you if you just leave it at that. You have to follow up. You have to be the one to reach out. You can't like bank on, oh, they watched it, now they're going to like come talk to me. It's like going to the restaurant and your server never coming back to see if you needed more water and you're out of water. Like, that's annoying. And so I'm like waiting for someone to come check on me, and they didn't. So it's the same thing. You have to serve your people well, whether they're your customer, whether they're your prospect, no matter who they are. You got to serve them well. So then after the event, this is where you're going to create your golds. This is where you're going to create your silvers. Like, hands down, without a doubt, this is where it's going to happen, is number one, get on the phone. Like if you can get on the phone, you can talk to them, hear them out, ask questions. If you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, I challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone and do it, because God will use you in huge ways and those people will work through you. It's just incredible. But get in a message. You need to message them and start with thanking them. Thank them for hopping on the chat. Like, thank you so much. I'm so glad you took time to hop on here. Even if you don't know if they were on, thank them anyway. They might write back and say, oh, actually, I didn't check it out. Like, oh, no worries. It's still there. When can you go hop on? Or ask, always end everything with a question, whether you're on the phone or whether you're doing messages, end with a question. So keep it short, keep it sweet, but no worries. When can you hop on? Or if they write back and, oh, in that thank you message, I always ask, like, what could you resonate with? What did you like about it? Was there something that stood out to you? Ask a question, like 2 sentences. Do not write a book to them ever, 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 ever. Just keep it all short and sweet. Ask a question, respond, ask a question. Don't give them information that they didn't ask for. I know sometimes we like to give them the whole list of A to Z. Here's all the details. Here's how to sign up, everything. Don't do that. Don't share a cart. Don't do anything yet. So if you do this, if you follow up well, thank them, ask them what they resonated with, be ready to respond when they write back, then fill them in, thank them for responding, thank them for sharing, and then offer a testimony. Maybe they already saw one there, but keep the conversation flow going, and always think of it now at this point when you're in the conversation, think of it like you're at coffee. Like, I always try to picture myself when I'm writing a message, like I'm sitting down at coffee with my friends, and don't be weird. Don't be weird. You're not going to go puke plexus on your friends. But in this situation, you are going to talk about it, but keep that conversation flow going and just be willing to answer the next thing at a time. It takes patience, but this can be done in 15 minutes at the same time. If you're on when they're on and messaging, I mean, like I've said 5 times, maybe the best is to be on the phone because you can really have that conversation so well back and forth. But if you can just keep it going back and forth, and that is hands down, both my level ones that went gold last month in October, this is how we did this. I did message events for them. We did message events for their people. They made posts. Well, actually, my first girl that went gold in 3 weeks, she earned the cruise in 10 days, and she went gold, fast start gold in 3 weeks from getting her products or signing up. She never made a post on Facebook ever. She literally messaged the people. And then she did the same thing. We got them in message events. And then we got she has a level 1 that went fast start silver. We did an event for her, and just keep doing these things. So it's duplicating the system. Have the event, ask your people to have the event, and it's incredible. So now she has a fast start senior silver, and she's about to go gold. If you just keep doing this very simple thing and don't make it complicated, you're going to do it. So I think that's pretty much all I had. I have 2 minutes and I have to hop off, but if anyone has any questions, you can pop them in the chat. And I want to hear a recording to hear all the questions that come back at the end from prior. I just learned a lot in the beginning of all this, and I've been doing plexus for a while. So that was fun to hear.
So Sarah asked if they don't join the first one, they just keep inviting more weekly events. Yeah, I think based on the fact that I know Heather and I know Heather, we share a VA, that there's an event just like we do every single week. It's a similar event. They have it. And so it's constant invitation. It's constant checking up, having the conversation, re-inviting them over and over until they get to the event, and then they see and then you follow up with them, and then they see the benefit of the event, and then they're inviting more people. Heather, I see, I know you have a massive following on social media. So I know for a lot of people, it's I don't know enough people. You've obviously built a huge following. I mean, who wouldn't want to follow someone watching a mom juggle 10 kids? I mean, that's kind of like watching its own reality show play out on social media, right? But are most of the people that you're signing up, I mean, I noticed what you said in your verbiage of starting in July, and by May, you were that Ruby kind of going towards senior Ruby in June. Was most of that all strangers on Instagram, just as customers?
That's a really good question. So back then, okay, I didn't share a whole lot of my story, but we actually adopted a little boy. So we technically have 11 children, but it's a horrible, horrible situation. His mom is currently part of a sex trafficking ring. Horrific, horrific, horrific stuff. So through that and the process of things that had happened, I got attacked horribly on social media before I had a big following. Like I, at that point, maybe had like 500 people on Instagram and got attacked. Like who does that to somebody that has no following anyway? But it was this girl that has a huge platform and got a bunch of, she did 2 YouTube videos about my family. So it was really nasty. And I went off of social media for a long time, like not a long time. I mean, like 6 months. It was a long time for me because I had been on all the time. So I was off social media. And then I just kept feeling like God was like, no, this is a ministry. Like, this is your ministry. This is a mission field. I feel like social media can be a mission field if you're doing it the right, like following the Lord's leading with it. But so when I went Emerald, I had not I didn't have a following. I didn't have a big, like, I kept everything private then. And even my Facebook, like, it was all private. I never had anything public on Facebook prior to that because of the adoption stuff. Even before we got attacked on social media, I always kept it private. I wasn't looking to grow social media following. Like, that was not a thing. Like, I just, keeping up with like high school friends and my college friends and getting ideas from other people, that was it. Like, I wasn't in it at that point to, I always thought like, oh, it'd be really fun to be a jewel, but I never thought that'd be possible for me. Like, I was very limited mindset, didn't believe that. So when I went Emerald, I didn't at all, like, it was not like trying to build a social media following. I didn't get a big following, probably like it was a couple years into me holding Emerald rank that I started having like a bigger social media following. So when I went Emerald and all these, I just kept most of my people that from July until May, I had signed up like, probably 150 level ones. They were people I knew. Or I'm always like, you're out and about and like, yeah, we're kind of a circus. And I'm always drinking Plexus or like I have the thing drink in my hand or active, for sure active, always. I always have active. And I wear it, like people just know. And then if it came up in a conversation, I would talk about it. I was also, I don't want to be that girl. Like, don't be weird. And I didn't want to like puke it down people's throats and make it awkward either. But if somebody's talking to me and they're like a diabetic and they're having tons of issues, be like, hey, I have something that could help you, or just listen, like have conversation, you're listening. So that is how I've always done it. Now that I have a social media following, most people I don't know, they'll reach out, or I'm still messaging, like they're watching my stories, they're commenting on my stuff, and I'll send the message like, hey, thank you for watching, following along. Thanks for commenting on my post. Have you tried Plexus? Have you heard of it? Has anyone reached out to you and offered this to you? So I do send those messages now, but that's a really good question. And I know it can be really challenging for me as a leader for my team because most of my team doesn't have a following and they can get discouraged and they can be like, well, I can't do what you're doing because I'm like, well, I did it before, so it's just don't let the enemy get in the way. Don't let those, those red light stories, the limited beliefs and the thoughts, like that's the enemy. And if you recognize that and don't let him stop you and just keep moving forward, keep serving your audience well and your people well, and whatever your goals are, maybe you do want to build a social media following, well, then work on that. But if your heart is to help people, do that while you're building.
Heather, I know you need to go. Thank you for sharing quickly and thank you for doing it with joy and enthusiasm. I would say that you like lead with belief and joy and excitement about what we have. And I feel like that comes through where people are like, I want to do whatever she's doing. I mean, all the other things are amazing, but I think when you're leading with such belief in what's possible, I mean, your first post, belief in what's possible, brought other people in. So I think that's incredible. Okay, go do what you need to do and we will continue talking and we'll send you the recording.
Sounds good. Thanks, ladies. Thanks for having me. Bye.
One of the things I want to really highlight that I saw from Heather, I want to hear your questions, is the fact, like, even her very first, like, be authentic, this is real, I don't really know if this is going to work. Luckily, there's a 60-day money back guarantee, but she was putting herself out there. And I want to like challenge you, when in the last 48 hours, week, month, have you really put yourself out there consistently in such a way that people are like, okay, yeah, I see myself in her story. I see myself in the person that she's talking to. I see myself as someone that would like, I want to go 60 days and see if I can get a money back guarantee, but like, I want to try it for 60 days. Like, where are you actually cutting off those objections instead of like putting something out there and then not knowing how to handle the objection? So just kind of curious. I thought that was really good of her. I would love, let's go Q&A. What's on your minds? What's on your hearts? What are you thinking?
Okay, when she was talking, because I've gotten this objection a couple times and I don't know how to circle back to it. Other things I do, but like when you talk to someone about starting with an accountability partner, and she had said, okay, who are you going to ask? And I'll get, well, I don't have anyone, and maybe my mom, but she would never do anything like that. So I've gotten a lot of times where they don't. I mean, obviously they do. They have their own issues of why they're saying they don't have anybody. But how do I circle back to help them, one, for the belief of why they should have an accountability partner or encourage? Do you know what I mean?
I think you can go a couple of ways. One, I would just maybe post on social media, like, hey, where do you need an accountability partner? What's the one thing in life that you need an accountability partner? Like, remind people why accountability, not just in Plexus, but in so many things, is important. Or, do you do well with an accountability partner? Do you do better in life with, like, ask, like, just like kind of poll your audience. And I like to do these on Facebook because I love to hear people like actually write back and like read all the different stories. Like just kind of community involvement. But I think it's important for you to like, and for people to read it, be like, oh yeah, I guess that's kind of true. Or for you to grow belief in when you start reading other people's accountability stories of like, my husband keeps me accountable to, go to bed, turn my phone off at 10 o'clock at night. Or like, I'm like, it's kind of accountability and boundaries at the same time. So you can kind of figure out how you want to do it. But I think the more belief you have that accountability partners are important, then it's easier to speak into that because you're like, girl, I've done the research. Like people are, 5 times more likely or whatever you can kind of do. But if you're actually digging into why accountability partners are important, then when you hit that objection, it doesn't feel like an objection. It feels like, oh, you're having this thought. And because you're having this thought, like, what about this? Or, okay, well, I'm going to check in with you once a week. I'll be your accountability partner for the first 30 days. But what I want to challenge you with is every week, I'm going to challenge you. Who did you think of this week that really could maybe be your accountability partner? So maybe you're the accountability partner at first, and then you're challenging them weekly for their first 60 days. To really like opening their eyes and kind of talking about it and seeing if they could find an accountability partner because they're probably not asking anybody yet. So maybe anybody else have an idea on, is anybody else had the objection about accountability partners and you kind of have an idea of how you overcome it?
I do think sometimes when people say, I can't think of someone, that's the time, and Andrea is really good at this. That's the time to ask more questions. Like, do you truly not know anyone who could benefit from XYZ? You can just start with whatever he or she came to you for. Do you really not know anyone? Or you can say, are you open to doing a post and seeing if some potential, accountability partners pop up with interest there? But that's where I think one of the things that as we've started this gold series, and I would love feedback from y'all, but as we've started this gold series, and Andrea and I have talked about this, I think our team, we get a little stuck when it comes to hand holding. Like we're not really sure how much hand holding. And I am learning people need a lot more hand holding than I ever thought. And I don't know why. I don't know why that seems to be different. Some people, we've all had someone who needed zero hand holding, or maybe we've been the person who needed zero hand holding. I actually think most people need you to tell them exactly what to do. So that'd be my next thing. If someone is truly unwilling or unable to think of one accountability partner, that's where you might say, well, then what if we just throw a line out and see if we catch someone?
So I can add something to that. So I only have one level one silver, but the thing that helped her the most when she did her first post is she didn't really know how to respond to the comments that she got on that post. You know, what she started out doing was saying, "Oh, well, thank you. Oh, well, thank you." And so I had to coach her on how she could take that, you know, and put a public response that would be inviting and inquisitive to other people who would read it, but then take that to a private message and then sort of do a deeper dive and help them. So I think a lot of times, you know, people just don't know. And if they've never done it before, then it's hard for them to be creative in that way. So I think just getting people started and helping them launch, it helped me. So I've done that with her. That's been my experience.
I was just thinking this too, like almost be like as close and as handholdy as you can be with them until they start to say, okay, now you can kind of step like we almost like start back and then go, okay, let me know if you want me to pull in. And I almost think if I think back to the beginning, I didn't even think twice about being like skin on skin with Beck about this business. I was like, okay, and have you talked to so-and-so? And have you done this? And I mean, Becky would get out of session with clients and be like, 47 messages from Andrea Mitchell. But it was like, I didn't even think twice about being like in her space all the time about, because I wanted it so badly for her. And I knew the potential was there and all of this. I was like right there, like skin to skin. And then she'd be like, okay, why don't you back up just a little bit? And I'd be like, okay, I'll be over here. But I was like a puppy, like, and I was like, but y'all, you know what I was doing? I was going around her. I was like, okay, you're busy. I'm going to talk to your team because I know you're in session right now. And she did not get offended. She was in session. What is she saying? That's probably really nice. Oh, my top mistake has been her life stories. But I would literally be like, okay, well then I'm going to talk to Rachel today. And I'm going to talk to, you know, whomever. I'm going to talk to Ashley today. And I'm going to, if I'm out of town, I'm going to meet with your person because they're wherever I am. And she never once got offended because she did not feel like, she knew I was trying to help her as much as possible. But if your person kind of is like, I don't know about all this, but they have people, make sure you're connecting with their people too. Because like, although you have a level one that's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm that interested. I'm really busy, got all this stuff going on. But you talk to their level one, Carrie. And I was like, Carrie's like, oh, thank you. I've been, you know, the girl you signed up, Sally, just, you know, and sorry, Sally, I use your name, but I didn't mean to. You know, you signed up Sally and she, you know, she doesn't have any time or space for this. But Carrie, who Sally signed up, does and wants it. You don't want this to be a hindrance. You want to make sure that you are what we call tap rooting. So I really, really want to challenge you to be as close and connected and accessible to every single person on your team until they say, no, thank you, please back up. And then you can go, okay, good. Now I know where I need to stand, but I would go as close as possible and be as helpful as possible and serve them as well as possible until you start to get that backup message. Because I just think it's so much more important to be, and then other than standing really far away and having them call you in, which is just rarely going to happen. Think back to when you started. Were you begging your sponsor to tell you everything? Or was your sponsor telling you things that were all of a sudden like shooting off little fireworks and light bulbs? And you were like, oh yeah, okay. I would never have asked to be in a team page because I wouldn't have known that existed, but thank you for adding me because now I know so much more information. So I just want to challenge you. Where are you actually putting up your own red lights? Like like your customer hasn't actually put up the red light and you're literally like installing them along the path for them. So that's a really good visual. Yeah, Tina, the duplicatability, that's where Rally Chat, every single person listening to this live, maybe, I don't know if recorded, if you have access to Rally Chat, but it's just a really good thing about what, and anyone can create it. You don't have to be a part of a current Rally Chat. You can literally every day, Monday through Friday, it's what to say, what to share, what to learn, and what to post. I think are the four. And you just give little snippets every day. Nobody comments on it. No one, you know, reacts to it. It's literally just an informational chat that you can pull stuff out of. You can make it your own. And you're never going to go a day without knowing, okay, what do I don't know what to post today. Anytime you say, I don't know, you should be plugged into Rally Chat. I want to make sure if you've said, I don't know what to say, respond, do, post, put in my stories, talk about today, if that means you probably haven't gone into Rally Chat and actually read all the way through today's. So super duplicatable because you're not actually having to do a whole lot for your team to also plug into Rally Chat. What else? What other questions do we have? Do we need to go back to the MetaBurn question? I think I love to MetaBurn first thing in the morning, but I am the girl that might have burned my esophagus with MetaBurn. I was doing an empty stomach, like literally waking up and like downing 2 MetaBurn immediately. I love MetaBurn. I love the reaction my body has to MetaBurn and everywhere except my esophagus. So I have now moved to 1 in the morning and 1 at lunch. So I split them, and I think I get a little bit longer. In my head, does anybody else do this? You like make up things in your head of how your products are working. So in my head, I'm like time releasing it throughout the day instead of like making it all really active in the morning. So I'm self-time releasing my my MetaBurn. I'm taking 1 in the morning with food, and then 1 at lunch. So, and lots of water. Everyone that I've talked to about the MetaBurn thing says
Water.
you have to drink tons of water.
It does have that 5-HTP. So it does, it can like really affect your mood, like in a good way. But I do tell people, guys, if you feel really irritable on MetaBurn, that is a sign of something called serotonin syndrome. I'm talking consistently. Like I had a family member, she said, Becky, every time I take that, it makes me like madder than a bag of hammers. And I was like, what does that sound like? And she's like, I mean, I get irritable. I feel like the worst PMS ever. I was like, I think you're maybe having a little bit of serotonin syndrome. Let's back you off that. That's super rare because the way it makes me feel is like happy.
So I do, I can't even say 8 ounces of coffee. I do probably 24 ounces of coffee in the morning, which is why I only chose to do 1 MetaBurn. I mean, I can usually handle caffeine pretty well, but after 2 o'clock, I just refuse to have caffeine, which is also why I didn't take the second MetaBurn. So now that I've heard you can take it together, I'm just going to try it in the morning and then maybe take off 1 cup of coffee and see how my body responds. I just didn't know because it didn't say it on the bottle if you could take 2 at the same time. That was my biggest concern. So I'm going to try it and see what happens.
One of the most fun things and frustrating things, and I truly think they're equally fun and frustrating, is that every single person takes it totally. I mean, like, has anyone else ever taken more than 10 E's in a day? Because I have. Like, and so the bottle doesn't tell you that. Yeah, Roxanne. Like the bottle doesn't tell you that. But after surgery in 2016, I took 4 E's 4 times a day. So I was taking 16 E's a day because my body had so much inflammation in it, like it needed it. And there's still days where my boys will take 4 in the morning and 4 at night if they're playing games. So I really think it's important. It's so frustrating for us that have no medical brain whatsoever. But I also do a really good job of like life in the gray. So if people are like, how many ProBio 5 do I take? I'm like, well, how many make you feel good? Like, do you feel better? Or, how many BioCleanse do I take? No, we have people on our team that take 6 BioCleanse a day and it functions for them. It is the only way their bodies function. I can take 1 BioCleanse and sneeze and my body's like, got it. Here we go. So I think every single person is different and that's fun because we all like, it's not exact. We can kind of play with it, but it's a little frustrating too, because then you're like, well, what works for me may not work for you. So I really want to challenge you to keep kind of playing with it. But yes, ask the questions. Thank you, Jen, for asking the question, because I think it's really important that we're having the conversation of when do you take MetaBurn. I can't wait to see what your body does when you drink less than 24 ounces of coffee in the morning.
Well, I'm doing the reset right now, and I did when I first did the reset, I didn't drink coffee, and actually I was so thankful because I know Plexus is the reason that I did not have those terrible caffeine headaches. I used to fast once a year, so this was and I'm doing it again, but I did have black coffee today. I have 2 more questions if you don't mind, and they are business related. Oh. Becky, you did an event somewhere. It looked like a salon of some sort. And I work at a fitness studio. And I think it's a great opportunity because everybody's hyper focused on their health, and I would love to share that. But, and I'm pretty good at creating and coordinating things, but I didn't know if there was some, and you girls may have already put this on the page, which is what I'm asking. Is there some kind of recommended product selection or offering that you do when you do these events? And do you talk about business opportunity as well as products?
I mean, the easiest answer to that last question is 100% I talk about business because I want to recruit business builders from those events. But yeah, Jen, like I could see, are you talking about an Orange Theory studio? Yeah, I could see a great event there. And I would focus on having a tasting, and you could have people taste hydrate, active, different forms of slim if you've got it, you know, just have little cups set out, have like a tasting counter. And then you could also have other products. I mean, Reset would be such a great sell at Orange Theory. You could talk about the values of nutritional fasts. And if I were you, I would share my testimony 100%. And then I would talk about how you became an accidental business owner and spend some time talking about the benefits of network marketing. And by the way, I could definitely send you my gut health PowerPoint presentation that I've like so many people have asked for and used at events. So we could keep it really simple and easy. But that way you could explain like, look, I did a whole section on why network marketing is so much better than affiliate marketing, why it's amazing that I get paid 7 levels deep on my customers. So I think that would be such a fun. And then here's little tips. Aside from a tasting station, print off and put in some of those, I don't have one right here, but like they're like acrylic picture frames. Do you know what I mean? Like they're kind of an L shaped and they can stand up. Do some before and afters for Reset, do some before and afters for Triplex. If you want to have Joy-Ome or something there, you could easily do some before and afters, but that way it gets people's attention and they're more likely to go, okay. And then have your iPad ready at the event so that you can sign up customers right then and there. Like you have your thing pulled up.
What was your time frame that you did your event? Was it like an hour?
Mine was almost 2 hours, but it's because I was partnered up with multiple teams. So we had like a big group. Russ and I did one at our CrossFit gym in Dallas, and that was probably like max an hour and a half. And I think we even did like a little workout.
Okay.
We might have done a 10-minute workout after the presentation. So we kind of like made it fun. And but I would think that would be such an ideal place for you to do a meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my final, you could partner with someone else. Like you could I don't know if there's another small business owner of some sort, whether it's like somebody who does, I don't know, lashes, who knows, but you could always pull someone else in too.
Okay. And then my last question, well, it's not really a question. It's the same thing I said when I talked about going gold. The problem I've run into, and I only have 2 silver, and I cannot get them to fast start because, and I know I just need to move on, but I just refuse to give up on them because I know they have a network, but they just are not confident in their posting. They just won't do it. They just won't do it. And I've offered all my VIPs to do a chat or to send a gift, or I've done everything except for listening today to this story. I think I am going to do a voice message to all my level 1s. Well, that's all I have. Well, no, I have 2 level 2s, but I'm going to do that and see if people will post. But I'm not finding that any of my VIPs will post on my behalf or even say that. I mean, I have all the people that are like, nah, I don't really want to do that. So I'm kind of stuck. If y'all have any suggestions outside of the voice message, which I'll do today. But.
Have you asked them for referrals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what do they say?
I get no response. And I've had really good retention. Really, I considered myself to have very good retention, but the last couple of months I've had at least 2 people fall off that I know. One of them should not. She's the one that was on that medication for her stomach, but I don't know. I'm a little frustrated, so I'm all ears for getting someone to do something on my behalf.
I do think too, Jen, I think there's so many good, we've got access to so many good testimonies of people who hit the plateau that you're at. Like it is the most, would y'all agree? when you feel like you've exhausted your VIPs and you can't find a business builder, it's the most frustrating plateau. And you're going to see people on the call saying yes, but that's where you've got to hone your messaging around how you reach out to people about the business. That is always the tipping point. Would you agree, Andrea? Like,
yeah, I was just thinking, like, very rarely are you going to get people that come in for the products real excited about posting about the bit, because that like, it's almost like they know they need it and they don't know how to talk about it. I loved her verbiage of like being honest, like, here's what I don't want, here's what my expectations are. Like, I think that's really great. But obviously Heather, just based on her social media, has really no problem sharing her life with other people. And I would be curious, like, even all of y'all, the day that you joined Plexus for the very first time, like, how open were you about your life then? Like, how much were you talking about your daily things and all the things that were happening? And, like, me, 100% as much as I am now, but for most people, they're not. And so I just think, Jen, most people don't want to talk about their health. They're not that open usually on social media. They don't want to talk about gut health. Like, they don't even know how. And they don't know, they're still so self-focused. They're not even worried about the fact that it could help somebody else, or that it could make them money, or they could earn a prize. So I would just really encourage you to go look for and have conversations with people that want the business. So I think it would encourage you, and it would be like, it would be fun for you if you found one person that was excited about posting about it. So when you're first talking about the products, I'm like, I don't know why the only thing I have on my desk is body cream, but when you are first talking about it and you're like, hey, so you want this, you're going to get it. I would love when you order today, would you be willing to post about like just what your expectations are with it? Because I just think it would be good for you to maybe have that conversation before they order, so that it's already started. I just think the earlier you're having the business conversations, like, who have you talked to this month that doesn't really care about the products? I mean, it's like, oh, that's great, I love a probiotic, I'd love to feel better, but you're telling me I could make $500 this month before Christmas. Like, how do I do that? And my question is, are you selling that?
Yeah, I'm probably not. I have not worked on the business side. I mean, you can see, I mean, y'all are on my social media, so you can see that I'm mostly posting the testimonial side and not the business side. I usually work the business side more on the closet side of things, not on the public side of things. So I probably need to get more aggressive in that. And I do have one potential who came in yesterday. So there's still time before she gets her product and even uses it to ask her this thing. And she will have her daughter under her, so she'll already be more than halfway there. So I will work on reaching out to her today and see if she's willing to post, because I think she would want to offset the cost.
I think even when we say people have influence, they have influence in the things they want to have influence in. So like, we could say like the local like mom that like everybody adores is always at a mom's night. Everyone invites her to do the thing. She has so much influence, but she may only want to influence in a certain way. And this may not be actually the avenue she wants to use her influence. And so it's a really cautious thing. I would say I've had more success with people that are just friends with people, and don't mind sharing publicly whatever, like every single thing in their lives. I have more success with people that are just authentic on social media than I do with people that I would say are influential, because usually influential people feel like, I don't want to talk about my health. I may want to complain about my headache, but I don't actually want to talk about my health on social. So I would say look at a Heather. If you find someone that has 500 friends, but those 500 friends are 100% all in on what that girl is talking about every day, then she had 100 of them as customers in a year. So I would say but she was willing to talk about it. So I would say, if you're going to message every single person in your back office, the question you're going to find out that you want answered is who's willing to talk about what their expectations were of Plexus, and whether it's meeting those expectations and talking about just that publicly. So, okay. Any other questions? We got about 6 more minutes. I saw the question about Black Friday. I actually do not know what's happening for Black Friday. I think we will find out before Thanksgiving week, but I personally do not know. So I don't, I will say this. I do not believe it's a product. I do not believe that we have a LTO or a flavor or anything coming out. If I had to guess, I would guess it's going to be a sign up. The year that I signed up, how about this? I love me some Black Friday deals because I signed up, I think it was $34.99 to get started as a brand ambassador in 2013 when I signed up on Black Friday. And it was like $1 that day. And I was like, and I thought I was just signing up to be like, to maybe to just have a link to share with a few people. I thought Becky would try the probiotic. I thought my friend Kim would try the pink drink. I thought my sister, might try, something for anxiety. Like had kind of been seeing people's stories. So I kind of had ideas of friends that I thought might try 1 or 2 of the products. Nothing was about getting $100 orders. Nothing was about a triplex, which that verbiage didn't even exist. And so I just want to challenge you, start today. Okay. It's the 18th and we've got 10 days until Thanksgiving. Like today should be your next 10 days of you are sharing incessantly about pick a system, triplex and trim, or just triplex or whatever. You have, however many days left, 12 days left of reset. Maybe you do 12 days of reset and you talk about for the next 12 days because it's free with that first order. You have all of these things happening this month, how much money they could make before Christmas. You should be talking about it a lot. I tend to buy things. Here's a great example, pumping cream by Primarily Pure. I tend to buy things that I see over and over and over in my stories. And finally I'm like, fine, I'll buy it. But I've watched the video and then I read some reviews and then I go back and I watch it again and I try to figure out, then I go to the website and then I get off the website and I get an email saying, hey, you have stuff in your cart. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not so sure if I want it, but then I go watch the video, then I'll send a video pops back up on my Instagram again. And I'm like, okay, yes, I want it. Fine, I'll go buy it. So if I don't know if that's anybody else's process of buying on social media, but that is my actual process of buying on social media, is being annoyed to the point that I actually shop. So I want to challenge you to keep talking about specific things. Find a lane that you're going to talk about for the next 10 to 12 days on social media and stay in that lane really, really consistently. And then, like Heather said, serve your people well. Okay. Y'all have a great rest of your week.